Welcome back, guys. So right now, two things can be done, and the two things that can be done is we animating the stereos and we trying to edit. So we can do that together because they are kind of entwined. So what I will do now is to use CapCut. Yes. So I introduced you to a website like this. You can get discounted CapCuts here on this website as well. So once you get CapCut Pro, of course, you can get CapCut Pro right here on this website is at a discounted rate as well, and you'll be able to use CapCut, or you could use any other video editing tool. So I have CapCut on my system already, so I'm going to use CapCut right now. So I'm going to CapCut, and yes, CapCut app. I'm going to open that so that I can have it used, and back to where we were coming from. So here are the prompts for image generation, and we've done some image generation so far, but now we want to put this into practice where we get to edit, we get to put everything all together. So I generated a few image, but not all. So I have the voiceover right here, I have the main character, I have all these characters right here. But right now, let's talk about using CapCut to bring everything together. So I'm going to open CapCut right now, and this CapCut right here. So I'm going to create a new project. So if you check this, I have the Pro account already, and let's get started. So I'm going to create a new project. As you can see, this is my pack I was gotten from this website, creative.com. So back to what we're doing. So I'm going to come right here to create a new project, which is this new project we want to work on. So the first thing I'm going to input into my CapCut interface is the audio. So I'm going to import, and I'm going to import the audio right now. So this is the audio of the animation, documentary, or short video we want to create. So I'm going to start right away. So right now, you see, this is where the voiceover starts from. So let's play. So it says,
In the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothingness.
okay, perfect. So we have Okonkwo, the main character being shown. So right now, I need Grok right away. So I'm going to use Grok since Grok is what I'll use to animate the images. So let's see how this would benefit the whole ecosystem. So I have the script, I have every other thing, I have the SOP. If you remember the video here on Google Docs, we have the script, you have the SOP, everything that makes up this video is right here in our Google Docs. So both the script and the SOP would be open so that we can actually track what we are doing so far. So here is the SOP, of course. I'm going to open that in a new tab, and I'm going to open the script so that we can actually follow up what we want to do. So here's the script, and in the script it says in the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo. So let me have that right now. So in the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo. So coming back to Gemini right now, I would say convert this to a visual prompt. Remember the remember the core character block for consistency. Yeah, so let's translate this to a visual prompt. So convert this to a visual text prompt. Okay, text prompt. Remember the core character block for consistency. So let's have this sent, and let's have the core character block right now. So once we have the core character block, we can use Imagen to generate it. So let's see what we have right now. So once we have the image we want to use, then we can now convert to video right away. So now I'm developing the prompt, and here we are. So the prompt is not even giving like an actual prompt. So convert this to a visual text prompt, not an image, not an image, not an image but a prompt but a prompt that gives okay, that follows the one above this. Remember the core character block for consistency as detailed above. Okay, so I'm going to have this updated because I don't want an image. It keeps giving me an image, but that's not what I want. Yeah, so let's see. So here is a visual prompt and we have the Okonko core character block. Perfect. So here we are good to go. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to input the Okonko character into this. So let's have the core character block of Okonko. Let's have it inputted right now. So this is the block. This is the Okonko block. So let me go up here, and here's Okonko. So we're going to have him here. Okay, so we're going to have the Okonko block replaced by this. Then we're going to copy this, then come use it on imaging. So I'm going to have this, then I'm going to have this sent. So we're going to wait for this to get generated. Once we have it generated, then we can create a video out of it from here. So let's see what the character would look like, which is the first cinematic scene we're going to have for our video. So let's see. So this is Okonko right here, and this is perfect. So this is him in the village. So we have this right now. What is the perfect fit for Okonko? I think this is perfect. So I could actually have this downloaded. So I'm going to download this right now, and having to download that, all I have to do now is to yes, all I have to do now is to convert it here on Grok. So I'm going to upload a file, which is the image I just downloaded, which is on Coco. So I'm going to have this. Then let's have a movement. So let's have this right now, and we would say, let's see what the script says. It says this was the domain of Okongo Okoko, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothing. Okay, so let's say, okay, we can just make a random video. We don't need to put a prompt. So I'll say edit image, and once I click on edit image, you see make video. So let's click on make video. So right now, when you make video right now, you could actually decide what you want to make of it. So here is where you set everything. So you have your duration, you have 10s duration, which you need super grok for that, of course. So we're going to leave that 6 seconds duration, 480p and 16:9, which is very important. Then we can make a video out of this. So you could say make video, and when you try to make a video, you have that right there, and you could actually send your prompt. So you need a prompt right now. So if I were you, I would just I'll just have this sent without having to put anything. If I had wanted to put a prompt, I would have added something just to make it like animate this, but we don't have an animation prompt. Okay, so I'm going to make sure this is advanced or this is improved. So we are going to come right here. We're going to make sure this is improved for the next scene, which has driven by a deep seated shame of his father, Okoko. Okay, Unoka, a gentle flute playing man, remembered only for his steps and idleness. Okay, so let's input Unoka right now. So convert this to a visual text prompt, not an image, but a prompt that follows the one above this. Remember the core character block as detailed above. So we're going to have this, and add the movement trigger for the conversion, the movement trigger prompt, the movement trigger prompt separately. Okay, add the movement, the movement or the animation trigger points. Okay, let's add the motion trigger, the motion and camera trigger prompt separately. Yes, this is very important as well. This is what can improve what we have earlier. So I'm going to update this. Let's see what we have right now. So this is Okoko, and this is the first scene being generated. Okay, so there we are. So we're going to have this downloaded. So once I have this downloaded right now, I come back to my CapCut and I bring that in. So that follows the audio. So I'm going to bring that in right now, and here we are. So let's play what we have right now. So we can have what you can see what we have so far. So right here, I could actually make this come this way, which is perfect. So now we can play what we have.
In the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothingness.
Okay, so this could have been reduced, the speed could have been reduced. So I'll use speed right here to make sure it goes beyond, yes, it goes beyond the initial 6 seconds. So let's have it.
In the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothingness. Driven by a deep-seated shame of his father, Onoka, a gentle,
Mhm. So perfect. We have this, and this could be reduced from the audio. We could actually have something like the volume being reduced. That's the background sound that comes with the visuals. So I'm going to just make sure it's reduced to like a minus 6.0 dB. So coming back here to the home page. So here we are. So we have these, and here is the visual test prompt for local specific scene. So we're going to have this, and this is the motion and camera trigger. So let's see how we're going to use this right now. So I'm going to have 3D animated style. Yes, copy. Then we're going to have it here. So now we're going to have the Noka block. Yes. So let's see Noka block. So let's see what Noka block looks like, which is the main block for consistency. So we have this, yes, okay. So let's see what we have. So I'm going to input this into this, yes, that's the local block. So I'm going to have that, and okay, so let's have something like this. So I'm going to have this, yes, perfect, okay. So we have that, and okay, so let's have this copied, okay. So I'm going to have this copy, and I'm going to create the character right now. So I'm going to come back to my image in, which is this. Then I'm going to have this. So before going that far, so we are going to have a landscape image, of course. So let's have the sense right now. So we're going to have the sense just to get the new image. So once we have the new image, I'm going to go ahead to animate. Now we have a motion and camera script which should make every other thing better. So I'm going to have my motion, which is, and camera trigger, which is this. So I'm going to copy this just to make sure the motion and camera trigger goes. So remember we have our SOP right here, and in our SOP we're onto something. So this is visuals match narration, which is what we're currently doing. So I'm going to make sure that is ticked. Then we can now come back here to do whatever we are doing. So coming back here, I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to wait for Flow to give us, yes, perfect. Look at this right now. So this is the old man, and we could use any of these. So let me download this right now. And having to download that, all I have to do is come to Grok to convert it to animation. So what do I do? So I'm going to come right here to use the image. So I'm going to start again all over, and I'm going to take this off. So now I can bring in the new image, which is Noka the character. So I could bring this in. So I'm going to bring this in. I want to edit this image. What do I do? So I click on this, then I say edit image. When I say edit image, I say make video. So when I say make video, now I can actually make a video. So I'll click on make video. But right now, I want to stop what I'm currently making. So I cancel, having to cancel that so that I can add my actual. So I'm going to cancel that so I can add my actual motion and camera trigger as the prompt. So I'm going to copy that, which is the motion and camera trigger, and coming back to this. So we're going to have the character. So let me have the character right now. So this character right here, and I'll say edit image. So having to edit image, I want to make video out of it. So I'm going to come to make video, and now I could input what I want to make of this as a video. So having to do that, I'm just going to take on this and say make video. Then I'm going to have my camera movement right here. So this is the camera movement. You don't need to care about that. So I'm going to have the sense just to generate the video out of the camera movement. So that will now give us the next scene. And now we have Okoko saw to be everything his father was not. Through sheer brute force and relentless courage, he became a celebrated wrestling champion, a wealthy yam farmer, and a feared image leader. So let's have this. Okay, let's start with this first. Let's start with this. So I'm going to copy this right now, and coming back here, let's make sure we use the same prompt. So we have this, and I'm going to change all these. So yes, so let's have Okonko and every other thing updated. So I'm going to update this right now, and waiting for the prompts right there, waiting for this to get generated. So here we have a video. So let's see what video. Okay, perfect. So we're going to have this downloaded right now. We're going to have that downloaded. Then we come right here to input that. So I'm going to import, and I'm going to have this inputted. So we have this right now, and there we are. So we're going to come back here and play what we have right now.
In the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothingness. Driven by a deep-seated shame of his father, Onoka, a gentle, flute-playing man remembered only for his debts and idleness, Okonkwo swore to be everything his father was not.
Okay, perfect. So we could actually make sure this is slowed down so that it can cover to this extent. So let's see what we have so far. So this can be increased. The main audio can be increased. So let's increase it to like a 20 dB point. So let's play.
In the late 19th century, this was the domain of Okonkwo, a man who clawed his way to greatness from absolute nothingness. Driven by a deep-seated shame of his father, Onoka, a gentle, flute-playing man remembered only for his debts and idleness, Okonkwo swore to be everything his father was not. Through sheer brute.
Okay, perfect. So let's have the other part of this video. So here we are, and we have a new prompt. So I'm going to copy this right now. So we're going to have this right away. So I'm going to copy, then I'm going to come back here to input that so that we can have this right now. So coming back to the main page of the prompt, so I'm going to have this right now. So we have Okonko block. So let's have the Okonko block out. I don't mind going back to check for the Okonko block so we can have an accurate character. So I'm going to copy this, which is a Okonko block. Then we're going to have, okay, let's just see what it gives us without even having to copy the Okonko block, because here we are and here it is. So we have this right now, and let me just have something like this 3D style, 3D animated style. So let's have something like that. So this goes beyond that. It says 3D animated style. So I'm going to have this sent right away. So let's wait for the character. And once we have the character, the motion is defined already. So let's have the motion right now. So these are the motion triggers, and this is the main, yes, this is the main prompt, and this is the motion trigger. So we have camera movement, we have motion trigger, so we can have that right now. So let's wait for this to generate our character, and here's our character, which shows Okoko as a wrestler. So we're going to have something like this, and let's see. Let's see what looks perfect aside from this. So we have this, we have this, we have this, and we have this. So let's see what that will be. So let's see this. I think this is not bad. So I'm going to have this downloaded right now. I'm going to have this downloaded. Okay, so this looks more like Okonkwo, by the way. And okay, something like this too looks more like Okonkwo. So let's have this downloaded, by the way. So I'm going to have this downloaded. Once we have that, we can come back to Grok to use whatever we want to do. So here's Grok. I'm going to have my character inputted right now. So I'm going to input Okonkwo into this. And having to input Okonkwo into this, all I have to do is to edit, then input the camera movement and motion trigger. So I'm going to have the camera movement and motion trigger right now. So I'm going to copy this. Then I'm going to come to Grok to input that. So I'm going to click on the image and say edit image. And we're going to make a video of the image. So it takes me to another interface where you get to see your options to make video. So I'm going to say make video. Then type to imagine is where I'm going to paste my prompt, which is the camera movement and motion trigger. So let's have this sent and see what we have so far. So we're going to have this generated. Once we have that generated, our script is going one by one. So that's how you do it to the very end. And once you get to the very end, you have a full video. Once you have a full video, we can now go ahead to make sure our this is our visuals matching our narration. Then we can now work on the pacing maintained, which we've done, which is the speed part where you see where I was trying to reduce the speed and all that. So that too has been conquered. Then we go to captions accurately synced. We're going to do that in the next lesson, because right now what we are doing is that we are trying to create the character and making sure they fits into the visuals or the narration. So there we are. So we just did something wonderful with this. So let's have this right now. So I'm going to have this downloaded. And right now we have a good camera movement and a good animated visuals. So here we have Coco. Coco comes in right now. Then we have something like this. So let's play this right now.
Idleness. Okonkwo swore to be everything his father was not. Through sheer brute force and relentless courage, he became a celebrated wrestling champion, a wealthy young farmer, and a feared leader in his village. But beneath the veneer of his fierce success,
Okay, so right now let's have the next scene. The next scene in which says, okay, so let's see what the next scene says. So we're going to have this as well. So we're going to say Okonkwo sought to be everything his father was not, a wealthy farmer. So a wealthy farmer, and yes, okay. So here we have this. Okay, a wealthy farmer. So he's a wealthy farmer as well. So let's have something like this. So let's come back here right now. So convert this. So it says Unkoko. Okay, relentless courage. It became. So let's see. Let's have something like this. It became a wealthy. So this time around is a wealthy farmer. You just have to be creative enough to be able to do things like this. And we have an a feared. Okay, so we can have that. Then we can have a motion and camera trigger prompt separately. So I can update this new prompt. So we can have a new character scene set of prompts, and we can have a new animation prompt. So let's have this right now. So let's define the scene. And once the scene is defined, we have a prompt. Then we can go ahead to create what we want to create. So here we have this right now. So we can copy this right away, then have the 3D block or Okonkwo character block inputted as well. So we have this, and this is the Okonkwo block. So let me go get the Okonkwo block up here. So this is the process you have to go through to create an animation movie with, or if it's ads as well, with AI. So it makes it easier to create animation. So I'm going to have the Okonkwo block right here. Then I'm going to have it inputted. So once I have that, I'm going to copy. So we have this copied, and we come to Imagen to animate that. So I'm going to have this sent. So let's have that sent. And while we are doing that, let me get the motion trigger, which is this. So we have the motion prompt, and this is the motion prompt. So let's see what the motion is going to be like, and the camera trigger as well. So I'm going to have this right now, and this Okoko block will be replaced by the image we are generating. So let's have this right now. So this is Okoko, and him being a successful farmer. So we have something like this, we have something like this. So let's have this right now. So I'm going to have this downloaded right away, and there we are. So I'm going to come back to crop right now to do something. Yes, so I'm going to bring in the image right away. Since we have a camera movement and a motion trigger, so we're going to edit the image just for to make a video out of it. Then this is what we're going to do till we get to the end of the scene. So once we get to the end of the scene, then we can now make something good. So I would say make video right now. I'm going to click on the make video option, and having to make video, it brings me to this interface where I can choose between edit image and make video. So I'm going to make video, then I'm going to add my triggers. So this is the motion trigger, of course. So this is the motion motion trigger. Okay. So motion trigger and camera trigger is what trains your animation. So, or the movement of your animation. So let's see. So let's say slowly turns his head from left to right to survey his band. So let's have the sense and let's see what the video would be about. So there we are. We have this being generated right now. So let's wait for that to be generated. And once we have that, we go on and on to get the script rolling till we get to the end of this very script. And once we get to the end of this very script, then we can now try to do the other thing that is in our SOP. So in our SOP, the next thing that will be done is to get the caption, and the caption will be accurately synced. Then we ensure that there is no spelling errors in text overlays, which is what we're going to do. Then we have the proper resolution and format. Then we have to call to action included. So in the next lesson, of course, we'll be able to conclude all this right now. And the recommended tools are being selected right away. They've been inputted right now, so you could check them out. I'm going to input a link of where you could get them, of course, so you could actually click on those links in your SOP in this session. So I'm going to come to my Grok right now. So this is Grok, and let's see what it creates. So there we are. Okay, so there's a Okonko right there. So I'm going to download this right away, and there we are. So coming back to this, in fact, you could add an SFX trigger as well. You know, the sound, the background sound, which comes with the Glock generation. So I could add SFS prompt as well. So let me have this right now. So let me have this, and let's see how this goes. So let's have this played right now.
And a feared leader in his village. But beneath the veneer of his fierce success, a quiet darkness festered.
Okay, perfect. So we have this right now, and you know, we have an image, we have a video generated before. So there we are. Okay, so I need this as well. So I'm going to download this as well because that was automatically generated without the camera movement. So I'm going to use that since it goes with what we are doing. So this is how the process could be easy. So I'm going to have this right now. So let's have it played.
Of his fierce success, a quiet darkness festered. Okonko's crippling fear of failure and weakness hardened his heart, turning him into a volatile tyrant within his own compound.
Yeah, perfect. So we're going to have this, everything is going on the way it should. So the pace of this should be increase a bit. So let's have that. So now we've been able to do about 30 something seconds of video so far. So here we're going to check what is next on the script. So here it says this, and it says adding art in his own compound. Okay, was unyielding beyond by streets traditional laws. Okay, so let's have this pace off so that we can have that done. So let's have a pace of this as well. So let's see. So let's see what we have in total.
Young farmer and a feared leader in his village. But beneath the veneer of his fierce success, a quiet darkness festered. Okonko's crippling fear of failure and weakness hardened his heart, turning him into a volatile tyrant within his own compound. Umofia, too, was unyielding, bound by strict traditional laws.
Okay, perfect. So we still have to increase this. So let's see what we have to do here. So we have to do something here. So let's see.
Third, Okonkwo's crippling fear of failure and weakness hardened his heart, turning him into a volatile tyrant within his own compound. Umofia, too, was unyielding, bound by strict traditional laws. One such law brought Ikomofuna.
Okay. So now we have this right now. So we have street traditional law. So this is another one again. So let's say one such a young was stage from a notebook in Okonkwo's home. For 3 years, the boy became like a son to him. Yet the oracle decreed that Ikemefuna must be sacrificed. So let's have this right now. So let's have this, and right now we're going to have something like this. Convert this to a visual prompt since we've been doing this. So I'm going to have something like this. And one such law brought Ikemefuna. So add motion trigger, motion, motion, camera trigger, camera, and SFX trigger and SFX trigger. What is FXS? SFX is the sound. So let's see what that means. SFX means, okay, so that's what it means right there. So you know what it means. So it says a special effects, sometimes sound effects. So it's just the sound effects in videos. So we want to have a trigger for that as well, so that we can get that trigger and we can input it. Let's see if it works. So we're going to have an SFX trigger as well. So let's update that right now. So we're going to update this just to have that scene right away. So let's see what we have right now. So we are going to wait for this to generate the same prompt so we could use on flow. So right now we're coming to an end of this, so we could use it on flow right here. So we can have, remember, Ikemefuna was not going to generate earlier on when we tried to do this. So but let's do this right now. So let's say high fidelity 3D. So we have the Okoko character block. Then we're going to copy this right now. So we're going to copy this and we're going to input the Ikemefuna block and the Okonkwo block, of course. So here we have the Okonkwo block first, which I'm going to get right now, which is this. So I'm going to copy this and get it out. But you know, I remembered Ikemefuna did not work for us earlier on. So we're going to have this. I think I will move that 12 to 14 out so that let's see if it's going to generate this time around. So I'm going to input the Ikemefuna block, but then this 12 to 14 should be out of it so that we see if it follows the guideline on flow. So I'm going to copy right now and I'm going to come to flow to paste that just to get that scene out. So I'm going to have that sent right away. So I'm going to have it sent. If you notice, we now have the camera prompts, we have the motion prompts, we have the camera prompts, we have the SFS trigger prompts, which is perfect. So let's see if that works or makes our animation better. So let's have the character. Yes, perfect, because I removed the 12 to, so it actually works right now. So this is this. So I would prefer to use this. So all I have to do is to download this. So once I have that downloaded, I come to my Grok to use this right now. So coming back to Grok, all I have to do is to insert the part of the scene. So I'm going to insert this and having to insert this. So we have to make a video out of it. So having to make a video out of it, all I have to do is to click on this and say edit image as I've been doing. Then I'll make a video out of it. So having to make a video out of it, here we are. We're going to come to make video. Then we're going to come to the imagine, so which is what we're going to input right here. So we're going to input the motion. Yes, so we're going to input the motion trigger, low velocity, slowly nod Z in approval. Okay, so let's have the camera prompts by the way and the SFS trigger. So I'm going to come right here to have the camera prompt and the SFS trigger. So I'm going to have this sent both and let's see what we get in return. So this is me generating that. Let's see what was generated automatically. So
This gourd is a symbol of our strength. Take it.
I will, Father.
Guard it well.
okay, perfect.
This gourd
We
is a
have
symbol.
we have a sound right here which could be inputted into the video as well. But let's wait for this main character prompt. So this main prompt that has the camera prompt and the SFS trigger prompt. So let's have this and let's see. Okay, perfect. So we're going to have this now downloaded as well. So what we want to do now is to input that right now. So there we are.
This
Okay, so back to our generation. So right now I want to cut in between right now. So let's see.
Here, too, was unyielding, bound by strict traditional laws.
Okay, so here we are. So we're going to input this. Let me cut this a little bit. So I'm going to come right here. There's something called split. So split is right here. I'm going to use the split button right there. And coming back here, I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to use the speed button right here to make sure. Okay, so let's come back here as well. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to just reduce it a bit. So there we are. So let's have this.
Him into a volatile tyrant within his own compound. Umofia, too, was unyielding, bound by strict traditional laws.
Okay, perfect. So we have this. So I'm going to cut from here. So I'm going to split from here rather. And having to split from here, we can now have the first video that has like a sound. So we cannot bring it in, just cut in between. So let's have this right now. Let's have this. And aside from having that, let me extract the audio out so it comes right here. So I'm going to extract the audio so it comes right here to fit into what we're doing. So let's play this.
By strict traditional laws. This cord is a symbol of our strength. Take it.
I will, Father.
Guard it well.
Now,
One such law brought Icomofuna, a young
okay, perfect. So we're going to have the new, yes, the new audio or the new video, sorry. So this is the new one. And we're going to bring it in. So we have something like this. So let's play this and let's listen to it.
Father.
guard it well. One such law brought Icomofuna, a young hostage from a neighboring clan, into Okonko's home. For 3 years, the boy became like a son to him.
Okay, perfect. So right now I could reduce the pace so that it comes to this. Okay.
Yet, when the oracle decreed that
Okay, so now the next part of this should be the oracle parts, which I could go ahead to do. So yet, when the oracle decreed that Ikemefuna must be sacrificed, Okoko dealt the fatal blow himself. Yeah, so that will be the next thing I will do. Then I'll do it to the very end. Once I get all those done, the same way I've been doing, it's just a repetitive task. And once I have it done, then we could go ahead to do every other thing in the SOP, which is where the videos will be completed, captions accurately synced, and all these things will be put in place that we can now have a full video. I hope to see in the next lesson where we continue from where we stopped. I'm going to make sure I finished up this. Then we're going to make sure we add the caption in the next lesson. So that completes our edit process. Then I export the video. I hope to see you in the next lesson. See you there.